Hi, everybody. I'm Miriam for the founder of the My Big Fire groups. Today we'll be talking with Jeff from the J-Free 906 podcast, and we'll be discussing different stuff like Bigfoot, UFOs. I'll be sharing like an update on what's going on around my house. Originally, I started the group just to document what's going on. The weird stuff is going on. Hi, Jeff. Let's bring you on video. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing great.
Good.
Let me get this line. There we go. That looks a little better. I'm gonna line this up. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. We've had a pretty wild week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to watch the Expedition Bigfoot
Actually,
last
I
night?
did yesterday.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty good. Kind of a start of the season. This is where we
Mm-hmm.
were. This is where we're going.
Yeah.
Kind of an introduction. So there wasn't a lot of experiment data that came out, or some great thermals or anything like that. But that's coming. I think that's coming.
Well, it's just the first episode, so
Yeah, exactly.
it was
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
on my. I was kind of on my in my over my seat a little bit because when they were doing that like climb down
Oh, the
water,
rappelling down the
the
waterfall.
cliff, yeah, that was
Yeah,
making me nervous, especially when they're slipping and sliding down there
yeah.
next to that waterfall. That
Hmm.
was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was a good show.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I think that, that's one of the things, when you get into the whole Bigfoot thing, not to say that any of the groups that are out there doing Bigfoot research are not worthy of what, they're not good, or rather all of them that I have seen are very good, and they
Yep.
try their best to get good data, and things from their research. But I'm glad to see in this particular show that it is with the people that they have. Dr. Maria Mayer
Mm-hmm.
being a primatologist and being very well educated and all this kind of stuff. And then you got Russell Acord, and you've met these people just like I have,
Yep.
and seeing their expertise in different fields, and you put them all together into a team, and I think it makes a great team. I think they make a
Yeah.
great team. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. The last season was good. I think it left off not giving us all the information that we kind of wanted. We talked about that a little bit last night.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they left off some things like the eDNA, and that they took, and the hair samples that they took, and the other eDNA from the footprints that they took.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It kind of left us hanging. So hopefully they'll cover some of that this season. I hope.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna try to fix my phone here a second. Oh, there we go.
So I wanted to share a little bit of an update on what's going on in my house.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
normally I've been trying to keep people posted on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's originally how I started the My Bigfoot Diary group, just to document
Mm-hmm.
different stuff. Recently, my dad had gone outside to the backyard where we have our curtain drain. He came back in and he noticed that there was some weird sticks, like sticking up from the ground that weren't there before.
Hmm.
So I actually tried to take a picture. I'm going to try to turn my camera around if I can. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So these are the sticks. That's one, that's two, in the back right there is three. I actually took these photos a little before Christmas. He actually came into the house and there's more sticks like sticking up out there.
So this has happened before.
This has happened before. Yep. The first time I actually first saw them, I let Dad know, like, hey, like, did you put these up or to mark where the curtain drain is? And
No?
he's like, no, I've never been back there. And for some reason, last year we actually the same thing happened, just further away, like further back in the backyard.
Uh-huh.
There were some sticks like sticking up, and for some reason, and it was one of them was pretty deep in the ground. It was hard for me to pull it up.
Wow.
Some of these are kind of a little bit deep.
It's weird.
So
I mean, who else would? I can't imagine why anybody would do something like that. They're not going to fall out of a tree and stick in the ground that deep. Not like that. Not in a
No.
grouping like that.
I mean, I
That's
noticed
weird.
on the top there, I don't know if maybe I can zoom in a little more.
Mm-hmm.
On the top, like right here, it looks like a stick had been taken off. Like
Oh,
part of it like in the middle. Same right here.
that's
I
weird.
don't know.
How long ago was the first time this happened?
The first time I noticed was further in the backyard. It was last year, February of
Mm-hmm.
last year. I noticed that,
Okay. All right.
and then this year I noticed it. I think it was around December when Dad had.
Somebody's trying to tell you something.
I know, right? I actually
That
have
is
more.
weird. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. I mean, we've seen
Yeah.
the things that on Expedition Bigfoot when they were in Alaska, we saw the upside down tree stuck in the ground, but
Mm-hmm.
not. That's kind of different. Did that one that looked like it was? You said one looked like it had something broken off from it. Was that one?
Had broken it off and what stuck it in the ground. That's what it looked like.
Huh. That's crazy.
Yeah. I actually have more photos that I can share if I can try to find them. There we go. I'm just gonna scroll up. Okay, here's another one. Turn my screen back around. Oh, this is another photo I took. This was during the snowstorm that we
Wow.
had. First one.
That is so bizarre. And
Yeah.
Dad's not playing games with you.
I don't know. I asked him several times, "Did you do this?" And he's like, "No."
And Linda asked a good question. Does it only happen in the winter or when snow's on the ground?
I've only noticed it in the
Hmm.
wintertime, so I don't know.
Wow.
It's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. That's got to be something to make sure you really document the heck out of that each time
Oh
it
yeah,
happens because
yep.
somebody might be trying to tell you something. I mean, I don't know who, what, why, what, but
I
I've
actually
never
saw
seen.
when I went to the state forest just up the road from my house with a friend of mine. We've
Hmm.
noticed similar structures in the forest. That was pretty weird.
Hmm.
So similar. I can show you some of the.
Yeah, Linda Simmons says any tracks, and I didn't notice anything. I was kind of looking for
I
that
didn't
in the
see any
snow.
tracks,
Yeah.
no,
Wow.
but we
Yeah.
did see like tracks in the forest. This was last year. Let me show you.
Hi, Marilee. How you doing? I see her out there. Kat's out there. Hey, Kat.
Really?
What state are you in, Miriam?
I'm in Connecticut currently.
Connecticut.
So this is Connecticut. This is up the road from where I am. So this is a footprint that we found just up the
Oh,
road
wow.
in the forest.
How big was that? Oh, is that somebody else's
Yeah, that
standing
was
right
my
there? So,
friend's footprint right next to it.
huh.
So it was just kind of strange. So why would somebody be wearing walking barefoot like that in the snow? It was pretty cold too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know the tendency to snow when you step down in snow and it has a chance to actually be a couple of days old. The print always seems to look a little bigger unless
Mhm.
it's windy and it fills
Yeah.
in, but it always
Yeah.
tends to look a little bigger than what it was to begin with. But that's pretty good size there.
Oh
That's
yeah.
interesting. It doesn't look like it's that old either.
And some of the structures we saw in later on in a different area of the forest, we actually saw an X. It was pretty deep in the ground. This is the X
Oh,
that we
wow.
found right here.
Hmm.
The person I was with, his name's Kyle Conley. He's the podcaster from Encrypted Connections podcast.
Okay. Hmm.
He met up with me local, and we actually went out in the woods up the road from my house, and we found. That's one of the structures we
That's
found.
cool.
This was off trail, so that's where we found that.
And those sticks, stuck in the
Oh,
ground as well?
oh yeah, you can with that
Really?
type of picture
Hmm.
of X. It was pretty deep in the ground. You could not pull it out at all.
Hmm.
I tried. It was way deep, like way deep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
We saw like a lot of bent over trees too. Here's another one that I'm gonna show.
Mm-hmm.
That's bent. That's one.
Yeah. Now, was it bent down in it? Was that end hooked on anything to keep it bent like that, or was it just? Do you remember?
I don't remember. This one was pretty bent over.
Uh-huh. Because sometimes you'll catch where it was actually bent down and hooked on something to keep it bent.
Yeah. I don't know if that one was. I think it might have been,
Mm-hmm.
but it was pretty big tree that was bent over.
Yeah. How about have you ever seen where they take the guys on Expedition Bigfoot again, and other people have seen where they're many sticks, and they're leaning up into a tree, and they're all making like a pyramid or a triangle shape. Have you found anything quite like that? I was wondering because they come across that several times on the show in the
We did
Pacific Northwest region, but mhm.
so.
Oh, there
This
you
is
go.
another photo. Yep.
That's similar. Yeah, right there.
Yep.
Wow.
So this structure was closer to our house than the
Mm-hmm.
X was. This was always off trail. We always go off trail
Yeah,
and
you
find
have
stuff.
to. Yep, yep. Yeah, you have to do that. That's
All kinds
wild.
of weird stuff that we found.
Yeah, Connecticut. I don't know. That's
In
weird.
Connecticut, yep.
Well, and that's good though. That's good because like last night, we were talking with Mike Owen and Shannon, and we were talking about where, and she's not had any exposure to this kind of thing, and she lives in Virginia.
Yeah.
And Mike Owen being out in Iowa, and Mike's like, yeah, we don't. There's cornfields. There's no Bigfoots out here. But you look on that map. I think it's called BigfootSightings.com or Bigfoot. I think it's Bigfoot sightings, and there's a map, and it shows you by year where all the sightings are across the whole of North America, and it's pretty amazing to see.
Yeah.
And you'll find that in your own neck of the woods, there's a lot of sightings. And being in the Pittsburgh area of Western Pennsylvania, I was like, yeah, there's nothing around here. And yet you look on that map, and it was one of the bigger hot spots in
Mm-hmm.
the east.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything, and I've said that before. Being a person that does hang out in the woods or used to hang out in the woods a lot, I
Mm-hmm.
had never ever come across anything that I would have said, "Oh man, I wonder if that was a Bigfoot." Never. I mean, I've seen animals
Mm-hmm.
out there, bobcats, and of course deer and bear and different animals like that, but never anything that I would have said, "Oh, I wonder if that was a Bigfoot." And yet, here where I'm living is a hot spot in Western Pennsylvania. So go figure. It means I got to open my eyes more. I think
Yeah.
is what it means.
What I also noticed is there's more activity on the west side of Connecticut as well, but probably because there's more
Mm.
forest back there. And
Yep. Yep.
one
There you
guy
go.
had
Hmm.
mentioned they're more aggressive on the other side of the state for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Right.
Probably
Yeah.
because territorial reasons.
That could be.
Yep, could be anything. Another thing I wanted to share is November of last year, I went hiking in the woods. This is on the other side of the trail
Hmm.
from where we found the footprints last year. So I went hiking, went back there just to check things out. And the further back I went, the more eerie I
Mm.
felt. And I was on Facebook Live at the time. And the further back I went, I ended up losing connection with my Facebook Live, and then that's when I started hearing what sounded like rock clacking.
Really?
Both sides, someone taking two rocks and like clacking them together. We
Wow.
actually heard that. Me and Kyle actually heard that last year.
Hmm.
It sounded the exact same sound. And I
Wow.
was by myself at the time, so I'm like, oh, what's going on? So I went further back in. I kept going, but I kept hearing it on the right side of me, the rock clacking.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, maybe I should turn around. So I turned around and went back the other way, and I didn't hear any more after that.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking about this Sunday. Me and Kyle have planning to go back there. I'm going to show him where I heard the rock clacking. The further back
Hmm.
you go, deeper in the woods. it gets more eerie. I felt like I was being watched by something. So something was there, definitely.
And that's something you really have to do when you're out there and you're doing an investigation like that. You have to be so in tune with your surroundings. And there's been a lot of people. This is one of the things about in Bigfoot research that they talk about is that there's a lot of people that mean there are ways that you can be communicated with that you may not completely understand. And there's been some, and Les Stroud, Survivor Man, when he did his Bigfoot series, he talked about a time where he felt he was being communicated with telepathy of a sorts
Yeah.
by a Bigfoot creature.
I've not had
And
it
he,
yet, thankfully.
yeah, I know, me too, right? And he described what it was like, and he just simply blocked it because he said, "I'm not ready for this," and he was able to block it. But
Yeah.
I mean, so you think about that: is the guy crazy? I don't think the man is crazy. I think he's very legitimate. But what would cause them? Like, do they, if they exist? And I still say that if they exist, do they have that capability? But then you also have infrasound.
Oh
You
yeah.
talk about infrasound is something that some cat lions or Bengal tigers and things like that will put out. It's a rumbling that is not picked up by our hearing. It's below the level of hearing, but yet you feel it. You feel it and you sense it, and it gets inside your head, and in some cases can set a level of like a fear factor.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, and
I've
paralyzing. To some folks, it could be even paralyzing. So that's when you're out and you're investigating, you have to be very aware of that kind of stuff. I mean, you have to be in tune with, keep your mind not only do you keep your head on a swivel, but keep your ears wide open and all your senses wide open because you never know. I mean, again, I go back to that. I'm one of these people. I've always with Bigfoot, I say this on the podcast all the time is that I'm still on the fence because of like what I said. I'm a bones guy. I'm I'm a physical evidence kind of person. So where's the physical evidence? Where's the bones? Where's the body? Where's the hair samples or something like that if he's out there? But yet I keep an open mind because there's a
how do you
lot of
if Bigfoot doesn't exist, like how would you explain all this weird stuff going on?
exactly. And the sightings.
Yeah.
There's hundreds. They talked about, on this week's episode, they talked about the fact that there was 500 sightings a year in Washington
Oh
State, just
wow.
Washington State, 500 a year. Okay. And so pick all the years that have gone by in the Pacific Northwest, well, anywhere in the United States, or even around the world. That's something
Yeah.
that Jane Goodall, primatologist, that's something that she had said is that, I think I actually wrote down her quote because it was so good and I wanted to remember how she said that. But matter of fact, let me look at that real quick because she said, there's something. I mean, otherwise, there wouldn't be stories in every single country. So,
Yep.
and you think about that, not only around, all around the world, not only just in North America. So, with that said, if even just one of the thousands of sighting reports is true, even just one, that means it's true, and he does exist.
Yeah.
So quantify that in your brain a minute. Here's a 5,000 sightings over the course of 3 years. Take just one of them be true,
Yep.
and he exists. So that's kind of people don't want to believe it. They're like, no way, no way. But yeah, it's
I
it's
mean,
it's
even
quite possible.
police officers are seeing these as well.
Credible people
They're
that are
catching
playing.
it on their dash cam
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
That there were a couple of incidents. That
yep.
was some weird creature was running across the road.
Hmm.
That was caught on their dash cam.
Yep, I've seen that. Yeah, I've actually seen that. Yeah, crazy. Truly, it is. And so, am I going to throw out? I mentioned before that I've not seen anything myself, heard anything myself, and I've not seen any evidence besides hair samples and casts and things like that. But am I going to close the door on the subject? Absolutely not. I'm going to
Yeah.
remain open-minded on it because there's still that possibility.
The closest I've come to a sighting was seeing eye shine underneath our deck. And our deck is pretty tall, pretty high
Oh,
up.
Is it really?
Yep,
Wow.
we are. It goes to our second story. We have a two-story home,
Mm.
and the deck
Hmm.
goes to us all the way up to the second story. So the eyes I saw were like underneath the deck, looking kind of like looking at me.
So that would put it what, over 10 feet in the air?
Um, I don't know, 7 or more feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what would cause that except for maybe a raccoon hanging upside down on the rafter
At
or something?
nighttime, or
At
yeah,
nighttime? Yeah, probably not, but that's crazy. Now that would be kind of frightening, actually.
yeah. Normally, if it's an animal or something, like okay, it's that. But
Yeah.
that suddenly I felt like the feeling again, like being watched, like something
Hmm.
big is there
Hmm.
close and it's watching me. I
Yeah.
remember Mom saw me. I was in the kitchen at the time. We had a sliding glass door, and
Hmm.
I'm just looking, and I'm suddenly like backing up. Like
Wow.
she just sees me back up, and she's like, "What's going on?" I think I saw eyes shine underneath the deck.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's nuts. I don't know. There was some good stuff. I mean, I was just looking at, some of the data. And again, if anybody that's watching right now has, watched the podcast that we had last night, we kind of talked about this before, but Pete Kelsey, LiDAR expert from the Skinwalker Ranch shows, and he's done some other work with Expedition Bigfoot. You start applying the tech to this, and you get into an area where um, is it completely is it possible that a Bigfoot type creature could be able to pick up on the EMF that's sent out from any kind of electronic equipment? Could they sense it? Could they see infrared, the light being shined by infrared light, so that
Supposedly.
um, you know can maybe yeah, it's quite possible. So can they avoid that kind of stuff? Yeah, for absolutely, for sure, it's possible. Pete was out in the field, and I showed this little piece last night, or this picture last night. And Pete Kelsey, in one of the episodes that he was in, he went out with his lidar. He sent it over with a drone, and they found a clearing in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wanted to go out and actually walk to it, and take the scanner and hold it in a slam scanner and walk with it. And he picked up what they call a ghosting image of a humanoid figure walking across the field of view in front of him as he was walking towards it with
Oh wow.
the scanner. He heard a knock or a bang,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of shocked him a second. He's like, "Whoa, what the heck was that?" And then they caught that. He didn't see it at the time, and so they weren't sure what happened, and they went on about their business. Well, he came back and he was looking at the footage, the data from his
Yeah.
scanner, and then you see that ghosting image, and it's like, wow. I mean, and he swears, and it shook him. I mean,
No, I'm
he
sure
was
it did. Yeah.
quite shook up. Let's see if I've got it. I got it up here. Let me see if this works. So I can show that picture. Yeah, right here. So you got a couple pieces to this thing. Right here
Mm-hmm.
is one, and it was moving. It was moving behind the tree. That tree that you see
Yep.
right there. The tree is in the yellow or gold color, and this is one of them right here, or it. And you see it move all the way across over here, and then it's right here. You know, and
Uh,
so it was actually moving across that screen, and that was for him. That was a brown socks moment. I mean, he said that really got him because, and you could tell
he
he
shit
was
his
shook up.
socks.
Yeah, brown
Not
socks
his
moment for
term.
him. Yeah, yeah. So you apply technology to this kind of thing, to the search, and you're going to get some very, very interesting results, to say the least.
Yep.
So I'm glad they do that on the show. I'm really glad they apply different kinds of tech. Now they got this new thing. They're putting up a seismographic tripwire, they call it. That's going to be
Mm.
able to show them. They did it over 18 miles, and so anything that crosses that, anything, whether it's four-legged or two-legged, bipedal or whatever, crosses that line, they can actually see it, and or not see it, but see the movement of it and track it if it was going above, across the line, in which direction it was
Yeah.
moving. So I can't wait to see some of this technology come out, or some of the data as they go along in the series this time. So Cool stuff.
I remember a while back, I know you mentioned that something happened when you were, I think you were in your truck and you felt like you shouldn't get out of your truck.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
want to share that a little bit?
that was freaky. It really was. I'm not really a person that gets scared out. I've done a lot of paranormal investigations. Does the nighttime bumps in the night kind of shake you up or startle you sometimes? Absolutely. But not really a person to get scared about stuff like that. But yeah, I was driving along on a road, and it was at night. It was raining, lightly raining, and I was coming through this area, and something like try to imagine like I'm trying to think of maybe a football or a ball of air that's wet or whatever, suddenly out of nowhere hitting the passenger window of your vehicle as you're driving along at 30, 35 miles an hour. And it was loud, and it had that thud, not a bang, but more of a thudding type, and it was loud. And I immediately looked over, and I looked over, and there was there was like street light. I could see over there. There was nobody there. There was no people, and it was like an area where I could actually see back a little ways. There was no one there. There was nothing. And this, it's hard to describe. If anybody watching has ever felt this before, then they can relate to what I'm about to say. But
I think Jim has.
Yeah, you're absolutely Jim Kelk. Yeah, he has for
You
sure.
know what we're talking about.
It hit me with a sudden, deep-rooted fear that I don't ever remember feeling something like that before, because I was tempted to stop and see what the heck that was.
Mm-hmm.
But something just set inside of me and said, don't stop. Keep going. Do not stop. And it was this fear thing that came. It was like I said, it's hard to describe it. It was like deep inside of me. And I was like, oh my God. And I kept going. I could not stop. It was like, do not stop. Keep moving. And I did. So I have no idea what it was. Was it a bird in nighttime? Late at night in the rain that hit the window? That's kind of what it sounded like, a bird hitting the window. That kind of a thud.
It wasn't like an acorn or anything. Was it something bigger?
No. It was it from the sound of it. It was more like the size of a good sized bird that hit that window, and it wasn't it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a crack. It was a thud, and it just I mean, I didn't have the radio on or anything like that, but man, I tell you what, but it was that fear that it put inside of me, inside of my head, that just, and I just had this, like somebody yelling in my ear, do not stop, keep moving. And I just kept on going. And I was like, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
What was it? I have no idea, but it was freaky.
Was there any type of dent on the window?
Nothing. There was absolutely no physical sign that it had happened. Nothing. And I mean, I didn't stop. I kept going. It wasn't probably maybe 15 miles down the road that I actually stopped. But there was no sign of course, it was raining, the window was wet, but there was no sign of like something hitting a wet window. It would have left some sort of but then again, I kept driving, and it was still raining, lightly raining, so maybe it just simply washed that, cleared back up. But yeah, there was no sign of it happening at all. There was no dent in the truck, nothing.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow.
I don't know, but yeah, that was pretty freaky. But it was the feeling. That was the thing that gets me, is that feeling that it gave me. I don't feel that sort of thing ever. Yeah. And even back in my childhood, I don't remember, maybe watching War of the Worlds and hiding behind Dad's chair and with. But no, that was still different. It did not feel like that. This was something that just got right inside of me, and just, yeah. Wow. Anyway, yeah. I don't know.
You think
it's not happened since.
Do you think it might have been something like infrasound that hit you? Or maybe your instincts are saying you're in danger, go now?
That's what it was. My instincts were saying, danger, don't stop, keep moving. Yeah. Whatever it was, maybe it was I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know what it was, but I didn't stop to see. So, it could have been something like somebody said maybe an owl was after a varmint or something in the rain at night. They do hunt at night, and it just simply came down because I've seen this happen before where you're driving down the road. Yeah, they do. Linda said they do fly and hunt at night. It could have been
I've seen
something like a bird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I drive. I might work third shift, and once in a blue moon, I see them
Mhm.
fly across in front of my car.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. When they're on a prey, like you see a hawk on the side of the
Yep.
freeway, and they see something, they're on that. Their sights are set on that prey,
Mm-hmm.
so they'll fly right in front of you because they're not looking at you, at your vehicle coming at them. They're looking at that prey, and they'll,
Yep.
And so could it have been something like that? Yeah, it could have. It really could have, but it
What
was
explains the fear that you have felt, though?
yeah,
No
exactly,
explanation for
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And
That
owl is
was
like,
weird.
okay, an owl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's why I was kind of at that for a moment it said, "Oh, wonder what that was. Let me see." And I looked out the window, but then it hit me right after that. Don't stop. Keep going. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Weird
remember
stuff.
feeling a similar. Yeah.
Danger, Freeman said. Danger, danger. Yeah, it
Danger,
was
Will
crazy.
Robinson, danger.
Exactly. They wouldn't leave a mark. That's they would. Yeah. Wouldn't they leave a mark though? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. It
I
was
know
just
sometimes
it
there's
was
been.
an irrational fear. It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember feeling something similar when I was outside with the trash cans. I shared this before, I think. I've shared this several times in my Bigfoot diary group. That I was going outside to take the trash, put the trash out,
Hmm.
take care of the trash cans. It was time, garbage day, put them down the driveway.
Hmm.
And suddenly I felt like, okay, something's not right here. I should go back in the house. And like, but I gotta really take care of the trash. And they were supposed to pick it up that day, so I just forced myself to go towards where the trash cans were. So where we have the trash cans, there's some trees right next to there. As soon as
Hmm.
I approached the trash can, I felt something. It almost sounded like something was hissing at me. I'm like, oh my god! That it just got that sudden urge to jerk and run back. And like, what was that? What was that? So I was like frozen for a minute. Like, what's going on? Like, why I don't see anything, and like, why am I like scared right now? The feeling did go away, so eventually I did was able to finally do what I needed to do, but that was pretty weird.
Hmm.
And just before, when I went back in the house, Dad had mentioned this before I came outside. He said that there were acorns being thrown at him when he was coming out of his vehicle. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So that
You
was
got
just
some you got some cool stuff happening at your house.
not being
There,
scared. That's not cool.
no, that's not. No, but you need to put some trail cams out.
I mean, I have before, and I have been advised that they try to avoid the trail cams, so
Yeah,
if
that's
you want
true.
them
Yep.
off. I
Yep.
know West from Sasquatch Chronicles mentioned if you want them off your property, just put like a whole bunch of trail cams around,
Yep.
just keep them off.
As if they could see that light we talked about before, that infrared light. Yeah, maybe.
That seems
Maybe
like
they can.
kryptonite to them for some reason. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, there's been some pretty crazy footage. I had a clip that I was showing last night. I don't know if I can show.
Yeah, go
Um,
ahead.
yeah, let me see if I can spin this around. There was a couple of them that we had talked about last night, and this is one. This one here, I'm going to run it forward. Okay, I'm going to stop it right here. Now, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking in this area right here. This is, according to what it said, this is 27 days into their investigation in southern Washington State, the Bigfoot expedition Bigfoot team.
Yeah.
So look in this area right here, and you're going to see something move right in this area, right? It'll zoom in right
Oh
there.
yeah.
And you kind of see it
See
move
the
there through
shadow.
the, yeah, it's like a shadow. Let me see if I can back it up right there. It's moving through right there in that tree, that center tree. That's pretty cool. So, and that was Russell. That's Russell on the left-hand side there.
Hmm.
So we'll see what he finds with that when they get closer to it. But a couple of the things that they had were later on that I thought were really, really interesting. These were from previous episodes of the show. And this is one, again, we talked about this a little bit last night. We talked about it when it happened a couple seasons ago. But it's that this is the infamous shadow on the cliff wall. Now, down here is a river, a creek or a river, whichever you want to call it.
Yep.
This line running across here is the separation between the edge and the creek, because you can see the reflection of this rock here
Hmm.
in the water, same here, here. So here's your separation line. This thing right here is your shadow. And this right here is a reflection of the shadow in the water. Now, I'm going to move this back and forth. I don't know how many of you guys have already seen this. If you have already, I apologize. But so I'm going to move this back and forth because you can see it move across the field of view. Now, I'll run it real quick, and it goes by fast, so watch. But you
Oh
see
yeah,
that move. You
yeah.
see that move
Yeah.
across there.
So
That
it looks
was
like a shadow or something that went by fast.
Yes, exactly. And what that was, Ronnie LeBlanc and Dr. Maria Mayer were down in a creek. Um, and they had, but before this all happened, there was some rocks, and there's a cliff face that probably went up about, I'm going to say 20 to somewhere between 20 and 30 feet on the other side. It went up that
Mhm.
high, and there was trees all up there. And they were getting some rocks that were like being kicked down every so often, and they were hitting the water and whatnot. And they kept hearing this, and that was alerting their attention. And then they heard it again, and then they um, spun around, and first it was Ronnie's flashlight. And mind you, there's nobody in the water between them and that cliff, that rock face on the other side.
Mhm.
And Ronnie shines his light, and that's when you start to see that shadow move across the field of view on the rock face. And in the water, you see the reflection of it. And then Maria brings her flashlight around, and when she shines her, it washes it out and it's gone. So, you think about that. What was that? There was nobody there between them on this side of the creek and that rock face on the other side of the creek. There was no one there.
Yeah.
So what could possibly have cast a shadow between the flashlight and that rock face and reflected that same shadow down into the water right there?
Hmm. Yeah.
I have no idea. That harkens to, you start to think about Predator, the movie Predator. Now, if something had cloaking technology and you
Like
shined a flashlight on them, would the flashlight still reflect a shadow? You wouldn't see the cloaking the thing because it was being distorted or whatever. But would you see the shadow on the other side on the wall? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But that's the only thing that my mind could wrap around that thing. So
yeah, that's crazy.
it is. And that really that got them too. They were both this. That's one of my favorite. Somebody else
Hmm.
I saw. That's my favorite clip, and
Yeah, I think
it really is. It really blows your mind when you see that thing. And they were the same way. They were um, yeah, there goes Renee said I jumped out of my chair when that came on during the show.
that.
Yeah, I know, I did too. That's why I've saved that
I
clip
jerked
because
for a
it's just
minute
so
when I
awesome.
was sitting like, oh wait, yeah, there was.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Okay, let's change topics a little bit. There's like
Okay.
some footage that I'd like to share from Ronnie LeBlanc. He's the former
Hmm.
cast of Expedition Bigfoot. He's shared something really weird. This was during the time when the drones were flying around on the East Coast and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
everywhere
yeah. Yep.
else. He was driving from Worcester, Massachusetts down to Tennessee, and something weird was going on. I'll show the video if I can try to. Oh, there it goes. Switch it. So all the street lights were flashing
Mm.
simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That really disturbed me when he shared that. Like, what is going on here? Like, see all the lights flashing
Yeah, that's
downtown.
crazy. Yep.
I think that was Worcester, Massachusetts he was driving through, and that's crazy.
That is. I saw a clip, another person had put out a clip, not that same place, another place
Yeah.
where that was happening. But they weren't all in unison. The ones that were flashing, they were flashing like, different ones going off at a different time, but they were all flashing, all these lights and the parking lot lights and everything. And it was, is something trying to communicate with us? Or is something simply affecting the lights in some way that not intended to do it that intended to be that way. I don't know.
Yeah. And with the drone situation,
That's
everybody's
nuts.
saying like, oh, it was drones or something like that, but there's something else that was going on too. Like, there was somebody that shared, this is a color enhanced photo of supposedly a drone, but that doesn't look like a drone. I'm going to show you right here. What is that?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when you take an orb, and I've seen a lot of orbs doing paranormal investigations. I've seen a lot of orbs. But when you get an orb and you zoom in on it, sometimes you can see something like that right there. Sometimes a face.
Yeah.
I've seen faces in them, and I've also seen where you get some kind of weird pattern. That's an unusual pattern because you see it looks like that. I'm going to use this phrase. I'm sorry, folks. Intestines down there in the bottom where it
Oh yeah,
swiggles
I
back
was
around.
about to say that. Yeah.
That's not just some weird flash. That almost looks like a person on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Looking to their left a little bit on the right hand side, and then it almost looks like hieroglyphic, like Egyptian hieroglyphic almost. That's
Oh yeah,
wild.
zooming in, yeah, it does.
It really does.
I
Like an
can zoom in
organism,
more
Linda said.
too.
Yeah. You see what I say on the left hand, or I'm sorry, on the right hand side, it looks like a person with a hat on, some sort of a thing on their head.
It just looks like a being or something, and it's looking to his
To his left.
Yeah, his left.
Yeah. That's wild.
That is.
That's really cool. Where did you find that?
This was during the time that when the drones were people were like sharing stuff everywhere. I think
Pictures
I
of the
don't know if this
drones.
was from Ron LeBlanc's site. I don't remember where I found this.
Wow. Yeah.
But there was some crazy stuff people were sharing during that time.
Renee said, "Yep, looks like a CT scan of the intestines, missing the spine." But yeah, yeah, it does look like an Egyptian hieroglyph or something. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And that's weird because we have, I like I said, doing paranormal investigations, and you're out there and you see, there's some places where I can be out and not get any orbs at all, and then I've been out places where I get like an enormous amount of orbs, and you're wondering why. Is it bugs? No, maybe not, because these orbs are not really, flying by or whatever. They're just kind of hanging around or slowly floating. But and when you take and you zoom, you capture them in pictures, just simply snapping photographs, and you get a couple of them and you zoom in on them. Is it matrixing where you're like, if you look at the grain of wood on a door or something and you're looking and your mind says, oh, I can see a face in there.
Yeah.
Is it there? No, but your brain is trying to take that image and try to assimilate it into something that you can recognize.
Yeah.
So you see things in pattern, you see patterns in wood and things like that. So when you zoom in on those orbs, sometimes you get like that right there. You see a person in the right hand corner of it. It's like, okay, is that just simply matrixing, like looking at a cloud and seeing a fish, or is that really something in there? You never know.
That's no
You just
drone. I know that. Everybody's
no,
saying, "Oh, that's a
no,
drone."
it's not a drone. No, that's not a drone.
I
Unless they're
think that
zooming in
was
on the light,
that
but
was
even
footage
then,
somebody had shared.
that whole drone thing, that still has me befuddled because it's not. It's almost like there was a couple of different things that were mentioned about that particular series of events, all those drones flying over New Jersey and stuff. Some had said and it was kind of leaked out. I think some people were saying that they leaked it out on purpose because the government didn't want to come right out and say that there was some nuclear material that came up missing, and they were trying to find it. They were slowly going over the areas and scanning for the isotopes that nuclear material would put out. And so they were scanning for it. They didn't want to tell the public because it would freak everybody out, but they kind of leaked it out so that, I don't know. Is that true? Again, there's no way of proving it.
Yeah.
And even if they did find something, we may never know. So.
And then they're all magically disappeared for some reason.
Yeah, and then they all just went away. Yeah. So, but there was people out there that said, there's a ship that's launching them from a ship off the coast. Then there's others that said, absolutely not. That's not happening. There's no way that could happen. Yes, it is possible it could happen. So to close your mind to the other possibilities, I think is wrong, because you need to look at all possibilities and analyze it for its best, its plausibility. But yeah, that whole episode, or was it some sort of other country or something spying on us? We just simply don't know the answer to that, and we may never know. We probably won't ever know. Yeah, that's, speaking of orbs, I got to show you this one.
Okay.
And you'll recognize this as soon as I flip the camera around. Oops, wrong button there. Lucy.
Oh, yeah.
From Skinwalker Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy was one that really gets me, because it was so well. Here, I've got the clip, and I'm going to play this out.
Yeah.
The folks
That's
at
like going around.
I mean, this was on TV, so you'll where'd it go? Get back over there. Oh, I got it over here. This one just blows me away because of the way it was moving. Now, and again, this is Lucy from Skinwalker Ranch, and it was on television, so that's why I'm allowed to show it. But this is an orb. For those of you who haven't seen this before, this is an orb that was spotted on camera moving in amongst the trees of Homestead 2. Now, the insiders we've seen Lucy show up before, or since then, inside Homestead 2, but I can't share that because it's part of the insider program, and I'm not allowed to show that. This was on television, so I can show this, but I'm going to run this video. Now, you tell me, folks watching, you tell me if this orb is moving with intelligence, or is it a bug flying around? And I'm going to play it. You see bugs flying by. Whoops.
Yeah, I see Brian's face.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and Brian's like, what the hell are we looking at? Yeah. So this thing, and there's more. That's a really short clip to something that was much longer. But it starts off and it's moving around, and then it's like stops, and it looks like it's looking at the camera, and then it moves around over here, and then it goes back around and goes back behind the bushes.
Mm-hmm.
And you see bugs, zip, zip, you see them flying by the camera. So it's not a bug. And
it's a good comparison, too. Like, that's a bug, that is not.
Right, exactly. And so what the hell is it? What is possibly flying around like that or moving around like that? And if you saw the entire clip from the show, which is much better than my little short thing there, it's moving with intelligence, like it's looking for something, in my opinion. That's crazy. I still hold that as one of the best pieces of orb evidence I have ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like I said, there was one that happened inside of Homestead 2, because there was a camera that Eric and Thomas had put up in the corner of one of the rooms in there in Homestead 2, and it was looking, and this thing like manifests out of a wall. It moves around the room, just like you saw there, just floating around the room, comes right up in the corner, like right there where that camera was, stops there for a second, hangs out for a second, and then it meanders on back around, and then it goes right through a wall again and disappears. I don't know.
Portal, maybe?
Something came through a little portal?
That's what
you
I'm
know,
thinking. Portal.
it's just crazy. It really truly is, and you just don't have. Unfortunately, you don't have enough evidence to support any kind of a theory as to what it is. But it definitely, in my personal opinion, it moves with intelligence.
It looks
Absolutely.
like, yeah.
Just saying. I don't know. It's crazy stuff.
There's some more
Uh,
footage I would like to share. Speaking
yeah.
of weird stuff and UFOs, during the California fires, this
Mm-hmm.
is what people are capturing.
Oh, I saw
Up
some of
here,
this. Yeah.
this is during the smoking fire, and down here, people are seeing something similar. And people are thinking it's a kite, but who would be flying a kite around where the smoke is?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like right up here, that's where the fires and smoke are. Why would somebody just standing around around fires
Mm-hmm.
with a kite?
Right. Yeah. There's one like that too that has you can see it zip through the smoke across
Yep.
the.
It's not a kite. Kites are not going to fly away.
Yeah.
There's the guy saying it's not
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I think toward the end, right up here, you see like a flash, like right there.
Yep.
Like, oh, it's moving, right there.
Yep. Yep.
Right in the fire. That's crazy.
It is. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of things, and I think we're getting closer and closer to disclosure. Again, I don't know. I don't know what the UFO UAP stuff. I don't know what it is. For us to sit here and say, oh, it's definitely alien, or is it? You listen to Chris Bledsoe. Is it more angelic in nature? You know, that's what he believes. He believes that it's more angelic in nature, and that they are watching us and communicating with us, and they've got a plan coming up. To hear him, I've had him on the podcast before, and he has shared some really interesting information about what he believes. You know what, the thing with Chris Bledsoe, I listened to, I actually got his book. I listened to it on audiobook, and it was called UFO of God. Which, first of all, that name itself kind of, for a
As a
Christian
Christian,
man,
yeah, it's kind of like,
it's like whoa, 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 whoa. You don't mix UFOs and God together in the same sentence. You just don't do that.
yeah.
And then you listen to the story, and then you understand why he said what he said, why he named it what he did. But that story from him is pretty riveting. I mean, his life, he went through hell. He really did. I mean, and from his experience when his yeah, from when his son was a teenager, that experience from that day through the rest of his life has been one thing after another. Now he records them all the time. Now he's got his Instagram account, and you can catch him recording and showing stuff on there a couple of times a week. So, what is it? Is he always correct that it's not a satellite, that it's not, some sort of a drone flying or something like that? I don't know. But he does have some pretty compelling stuff that he puts out there. So that's his opinion of what these orbs are. Then you have a lot of other people that say it's more alien in nature, that we are being observed by others. And somebody I've even seen joking around with the fact, saying, oh, you know what it is? It's tours. Like we go on a tour to go see the manatees floating in Crystal River. We go on a tour to go check that out. And people from another planet are taking a tour to go see the the cavemen humans over there on Earth. Let's go check that out. So they're taking a tour. I thought that was kind of funny. So they're boarding some sort of a thing to come and check out the humans on Earth and see what they're up to. But So you really don't know what these things are. And but now the simple fact, and I think we're getting closer and closer to governmental disclosure. Um, they have already acknowledged that these things exist, that they don't know what they are. Now, whether or not that's true about not knowing what they are or not, we don't know. As we get disclosure, and maybe the new administration will help with that. And I know this is not political. I'm not trying to get into that, but there has been others. Bill Clinton tried to get to the answers on this stuff, and he couldn't get the answers out to the public the way he wanted. So, what is it? I don't know. But there's definitely, without a doubt, there are some sort of unidentified flying objects moving in our airspace and over our oceans and around our ships and around military bases and around cities that we don't know what they are. Us regular citizens have no idea what they are. Whether the government does or not, they're not telling us. They're saying they don't. But the simple fact remains, they are true. They are there. There's things happening, and there's no doubt about that now. I had recently had Dustin. I'm trying to think of his last name now. I'm at a loss for a second. He is the director of MUFON for Eccleston, Dustin Eccleston, and he is from he's the MUFON director for Utah. And I met him at Phenomicon, and over a couple of years, and we were able to finally work it out and have him come on. And we're having him and his associate come on the show again. We're setting a date for that right now to share more stuff that they have. He shared with me a couple of different clips and things that he had. And one of them was a UAP that was tracking alongside of an airliner. He kept the name of the guy, the airline, and the person who filmed it completely secret because the guy did not want to be identified. I don't know if you've seen that. I have a clip of it. If you'd like, I can bring it up and show it.
Sure. If you have the clip, go ahead.
Yeah, so he was, and this is something, it's a minute long, so bear with me on that. I'll bring this over in front of the camera here, and let me line this up a little bit. And as you can see, we are doing our podcast, and you see Dustin Eccleston and me and Jim Kelgard doing this. And so I'll hit play here. And so this clip is crazy. Now watch, there's two screens. The larger screen, and I'll pause this for a second. The larger screen is showing, you can see the UAP right here. It looks like a little white dash right there. Mm-hmm. And then the close-up over here is showing a close-up of it over here. So they put that together. Yeah, this is at 40,000 feet. You can tell. Look how small I don't know if that's the Grand Canyon down there or what. But this thing, and I'm going to play it. Now, this thing is tracking alongside of an airliner. And the guy is filming it out of the cockpit window.
Wow.
It's not another airplane. It's not an orb. It's actually looks like a flat cigar-shaped something or other.
It almost looks like a flat disc.
Kind of like a flat disc, yeah. And it's flying along, tracking alongside of this airliner. Now, how close it is, we just simply don't know. It's hard to tell. The pilot would have had a better description of how close it was actually to the plane. But this was one of my favorite. I've had quite a few podcasts and enjoyed them. And I enjoy them all. But this one was one that, man, just kind of blew my socks off. And I can't wait to have Dustin on again because of the things they were able to share with us was just, pretty significant. I don't know. What do you make of that kind of stuff? I don't know. What do you think?
Who knows? It looks like something, it might be either interdimensional or, I don't know. But, I've heard that pilots are seeing this all the time. And
they are.
They're told not to say anything about it.
Exactly, and they could lose their that's their livelihood. They make their career. They're living off of flying an airline jet, and you are responsible for those 100 and whatever passengers are on your plane. Mm-hmm. So it's always been that stigma. You can't talk about it. You don't talk about this stuff, or you could lose your license. And they're not going to because they need that license. They need to keep that job. So and that's a shame. And that's why I think now it's getting to a point where now they can start talking about it because of the relaxation of that, you know, putting the damper on those guys is getting to be more and more open now, so they can talk about stuff. Will we see it happen more? I think we will, that they're going to start sharing these things, but I don't know. To me, you can't do it soon enough for me to start sharing these things, because the more we get that out, and military pilots, the Tic Tac video, and how many years ago was that? I mean, that was several years ago. The Tic Tac video and the Go Fast, the Go Fast clip. I mean, those things, and the gimbal. You know, here you've got 3 different videos of UAPs that can enter, you know, transmedium. They can go down in the water and come back out and fly away. And yet, can you talk about it or not? You know, are you able? Now it's starting to come out, and I'm so glad. I can't wait till I don't think we're ever going to get to the point where the government's going to say, hey, look, yeah, they're real. We've been we're tracking them for years and years. We know, you know, that they're there, and we're now trying to work and asking the public to help us with this. That may come, but whether or not they come to the point and they say, yeah, Roswell was real, and we got, you know, down craft, and we've been analyzing it for 60 years now. I don't think we're ever going to get that disclosure.
And they're
But
already
I think,
playing dumb with us, especially when it comes to the drone situation. They're like, I don't know.
yeah, I know, right?
Like,
Exactly.
don't play
So,
dumb with us. We're not stupid. We're smart. We know what's going on. So come out and say something. Say it. Like,
you know, Kat asked a good question. Linda said something. Tic Tac was the fall of 2004. So that was 20 some years ago, 21 years ago. 20 years ago. So, and Kat says, what would disclosure to the religious world? Here's my answer to that. And I'm saying this for me personally, as being a Christian. Will the, let's say a mothership shows up, and the mothership shows up, and alien creatures come out and make contact with us, and it's all there. It's all the media is on there. There's no doubt in anyone's mind what's happening. There are non-human intelligence that has shown up.
Yep.
Now, will that shake my world? Yes. Will it shake my religion, my faith in God? No.
Nope.
It will not. Because honestly, it doesn't say anywhere in the Bible that this sort of thing does not exist. It doesn't say that God didn't make life on other planets. And as a matter of fact, there's a lot of things that would hint Ezekiel's wheel. There's a lot of stuff in there that might lead to that. I'm not saying that's what that means, but it's not going to take away my belief in God. Period. Hands down. Not going to happen. So, that's just folks and I didn't want to. This is not about religion either, like politics, but that's just me. And I'm just responding to Kat's post there. So. I'm not going to shake my world in that respect, but it will shake my world in, oh my gosh, they're real.
Yeah, I never had an encounter. I know my dad saw something weird across the street from our house, and he told me about it, but I've never personally seen anything weird in the sky.
Yeah.
Hopefully I never do.
I know, right? I'm, I've always been one of those people that said, if a ship showed up and said, hey, we're going to take, 10 people with us, who wants to go? Now, Christina might have a different answer about that, but I'd be like, I'm going. She probably won't let me, but yeah, I mean, I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know what's out there. It's like you take a man who played Captain Kirk for all those years, exploring the frontier of space on TV, and it wasn't real. And then you put that man up in a rocket and send him up into where he can experience being in space for the first time in real life. Now, you'd look at all the people that were on that flight with him, and all of them are floating. They're amazed by the weightlessness. And they're all floating around. They're all having woo, and that would be great. Believe me, I'd love to experience that. What was Shatner doing the whole time? He was looking out the window. And why was he looking out the window? Because for the very first time, he was able to see the Earth from space and see the curvature and look out into space for the very first time. That, to me, right there would be a pinnacle of, oh my gosh, look at this. Weightlessness, yeah, that's cool. But seeing the Earth from space, that's really cool. I mean, so again, I got something else. You want to see this?
Oh, sure.
How many? And you saw this. We kind of talked about it earlier. This is for those of you who have seen this. This is the jellyfish anomaly.
Yeah, at least they call that a genie.
Yeah. Now this thing here kind of blows me away too. Here is another picture of it. Is that that? Nope, that's not. Hang on, let's see. That one there. That's another picture of it because as this, and I got a little video clip of this thing. This thing has, and I've got some information on this from Jeremy Corbell put this out. And Jeremy Corbell, as most of you know, is a whistleblower, and he is very adamant about this. This was put out by Jeremy Corbell, and he said that the Pentagon officially designated this as a UAP, officially. So that tells you that they do not know what this was. It's unidentified, and they have vetted it enough to say that it's real. Okay, and they officially made it a UAP. Now this thing flew over a U.S. Joint Operations Base in Iraq in 2018. And I have a video of it here that I'd like to share, if I could, if you don't mind. And I asked folks to kind of watch this a little because this is this thing. Well, here I'm going to go ahead and switch this around. Now, this, like I said, this was. Let's see if I can. Oh, let me move my camera a little bit here. Okay, so you see it right here. This thing right here. Mm-hmm. And as this moves across the screen, you will see it change. It's being watched by an IR camera. That's why, the only reason why they think they saw it, because it goes over people. It actually flies over a dog, and the dog, nobody pays any attention to it. So they could not see it. All right, I'm going to play this. This is really cool. Now you'll see as it goes.
It's kind of weird they can't see it, but the camera is picking it up.
Yeah, in infrared. Now see how it changes, almost translucent?
Yeah.
And then you'll see it come back and have like more color to it. Right there, like dark, that.
Yeah.
Why? Is it shifting back and forth based upon its surroundings? I don't know. But they call this the jellyfish UAP. And like I said, the Pentagon officially designated it as a UAP. And this was in Iraq in 2018. It flew over a joint operations base. And it's just crazy. Now, it gets even worse because some people, some people have actually tried their best to try to figure out, zoom in on this and figure out what it is or what could be operating it. And that's what's coming up in this next little piece you'll see. As
it almost looks
it flies
like it's disappearing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so here's another little piece of it. Now this is somebody taking a look at it. And then they you see the people. There's people walking around over there. And they don't look up at this thing at all. They don't even see it. They don't hear it. Now this guy's zooming in on it and trying to get a better look at it. And there is kind of where it oscillates back and forth between translucent and
looks
filled
like it's
in.
Changing shape kind of too.
Kind of, almost, yeah. Okay, now you'll see something. This part is the part that gets me right here.
Oh yeah.
He's trying to find out what is in it. And you'll see it starting to take shape around the eyes. Mm-hmm. Now, whether or not any of this is good or not, I'm just putting it out there. You guys make of it what you will. But it gets creepier.
It's creepy to me. It looks creepy.
Yeah, this is looking at a head in the top of it, right between those two pillar-looking things on it. and it looks like they're a head, okay, and a hand. Now look
Yeah.
at those eyes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see it.
Is that freaky or what?
That is when it turns dark like that and it's showing the shape, like it. Yeah.
And a hand down there in the bottom, like it's on the controls and it's controlling
It's
something.
almost like it's a pilot and it's driving this
Yeah.
craft, whatever it is.
What do you make of that? Isn't that crazy? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
The way
I,
it's shaped, it kind of reminds me of in Star Wars when they were like shooting at this thing that the droid that
yes, yes, yes. The droid
when
on
the
Hoth,
Empire
the
Strikes
ice
Back
planet.
that
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. It was a droid. It was a droid that was looking for evidence of the rebel base on Hoth, the ice planet. And it looks just like that. Brenda said I just got the chills. Mary Lee says, no sleep tonight. Thanks. Yeah,
Good night.
exactly. Silent
Really?
propulsion. Yeah, silent propulsion.
Yeah.
Yeah, a fox with a jetpack. Yeah. That spot on the forehead reminds me of Star Trek episode, the time travel one with to San Francisco. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yep. Crazy stuff, folks. I don't.
Do you got if do you have anything else before we go into Q&A?
Nope, nope, nope. That's
Okay.
it.
Does anybody have a question before we head out tonight? Have any question for me or Jeff? Just post it in the comments.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your inviting me to come on with you and talk for a
Yeah.
little bit. It
Thank you.
gives me an opportunity to be somebody else's guest.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm
I
not used to
appreciate
that.
your time. For taking the
Oh,
time.
no problem. Yeah, this has been a busy week because I had actually this is my fourth podcast appearance or whatever this week. I was on with Jake Roberts on Sunday talking. It was the Bacon Sir Francis Bacon Bash birthday thing that he was doing, and his birthday. And then Wednesday night, of course, we had Curse of Oak Island, and last night we had Bigfoot, and then tonight with you. So, yeah.
Okay,
So
Marilee asks, "Am I near water or near mountains?" No. Where there is a pond like up the road from us, but we don't have. We're Connecticut isn't that doesn't have many mountains at all. It's mainly flat lands. I mean, there is some hills, but it's not like completely flat. But no, there's no mountains.
yeah, there's a
A
good
lot of
question for
trees.
you. Aren't you afraid of where you live?
Yeah, Connecticut is not that. Doesn't have that many mountains.
See what Linda Simmons asked you. Aren't you afraid where you live?
Oh, I didn't see that. Am I afraid where I live? Not really. As a Christian, I believe in God's protection, so I always pray over the house and the property before
Mm-hmm. Yep.
before
There
I
you go.
step outside, before I go to bed. So that's my faith. Pretty much keeps me sane, or keeps me afraid of
Absolutely.
walking outside.
How far are you from the area Matty Blake featured on Beyond Skinwalker Ranch near his home? Oh, there's a good question. I forgot what that place was called. I don't remember the name. Do you remember that?
I'm not sure. How
He was out with Beyond Skinwalker Ranch guys, and it was, yeah, it was.
are you?
Linda, what was the name of that place? I don't remember.
How far are
I
you
don't remember the name of
from
it.
Matty Blake featured?
Yeah, he went out because there was some people doing an investigation, and he went out and met with them because he lives in that area. But I don't remember
Linda,
where.
where is he located?
I don't remember the name of that place. Yeah, that was pretty wild.
I mean, the closest I know about is the triangle. That's not too far. It's
Hmm.
over where the Massachusetts area. I can't
That
remember.
might have been part of the area. I think that might be part of it. I think they talked about that in that episode. So the triangle or something. Dang it, I'll find it. She's looking. But yeah, so that's one thing too. That I wanted to Bridgewater Triangle. That's it. That was
Oh
it.
yeah, Bridgewater Triangle. Yep. I couldn't think of the name for it. Like completely came.
Yeah, Bridgewater Triangle. Are you close to there?
Kind of. I'm located kind of at the northeast part of Connecticut, so
Uh,
I don't know where the Bridgewater Triangle's probably from like a good hour from where I am, maybe.
Mary Lee's got a lot of stories about it. Ooh, you
Ooh.
might have to interview her,
Oh
get her on
yeah,
the show and talk about
Mary Lee, you're
that.
next.
There you go, Mary Lee. You just talked yourself right under the podcast.
I know someone had asked me in the chat, like if I did, you said you never saw a UFO. If I did, what would what would be my reaction or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know really. I would probably just start praying and seeing like, what is this? Is this
Mm-hmm.
something bad, or is this like an aircraft, or is this something government maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Is this something the government made? Is there like a base close by? But I doubt it.
Yeah. I have seen what I'm going to say on a couple of different occasions. I have seen what I would call a UFO or UAP, and I say that because I have no idea what it was, so I could not identify it. So I'm going to call it that. On both occasions, and one of them gave me a really interesting feeling as it was flying overhead. And I was with a couple other people, and we were actually, all of us were observing this. And this thing flew overhead, and it had like, it wasn't like a headlight on a car that was emitting light in front of it as it was moving in the direction it was going. Like a plane would have lights on it, but it wasn't like a beam of light. It was a weird thing. Very, very. Instead of being a beam, it was more like a glow of light in front of it. And and as it was passing over, and we were all standing there looking up at it, one of those turned and pointed down and lit us up. I remember standing there and looking around as it did that. And I looked around, and the area where we were standing was all lit up. The ground was lit up where we were. Not as bright as day or anything like that, but brighter than the night, because it was at nighttime this was happening. And the whole area around us lit up. And I remember looking around going, wow, that is shining on us. And then it turned back up and it was gone. It flew away. And I just had the feeling, this warm fuzzy, if you want to call it a warm and fuzzy. I had a warm and fuzzy feeling from it. Not of fear, not of run, not of anything else, but it just like, hey there, hi. Isn't that weird? I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but that was the feeling I got from it. So I'm not afraid to encounter uh, another UFO UAP type thing. Now, if it landed in front of me and started making noises or whatever, I might then. But generally speaking, I'm not. I look forward to the next encounter I have.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
The encounter that my dad had, he told me that he was outside in front of our house, and just above the trees across the street, it was a blue. He mentioned like a blue light, and it was moving around, kind of weird, kind of like this.
Like Lucy.
Yep. Pretty much. Yeah. That's the only time he's told me that he's had that weird encounter. That was just across the street. I've heard like weird theories like UFO, Bigfoot, but where there's Bigfoot activity, there's UFO activity as well. So is that something connected? I don't know.
Maybe.
Could be.
Yep.
Yep.
I was just reading what Brenda said. That one that I saw very close in the puff of clouds, I felt like I was in a puff of nothingness. It had us held timeless space. When it left, I was scared to death and left. Yes, Jeff, that in case fuzzy feeling that describes it. I would. Oh, see more.
I wouldn't go home after that. Wow.
Yeah. I was only a block away from home. Yeah. I did. I just had a warm fuzzy from it. It was a pleasant experience. I'll put it that way. It was really a pleasant. The other one was just too far away and it was really hard to see, but it was another light that was moving. And this was years ago. I mean,
Hmm.
there was no Starlink satellites going up into space and all this kind of stuff. And it was moving across the sky very slowly. It was a big light, very big, but
Hmm.
it wasn't a plane. There was no sound from it or anything like that. And it was just that was it. I mean, it was just simply a light. No other thing about it that was remarkable. So
Uh,
don't know what it was, but to me it was unidentified. I don't know. So
yeah.
but I look forward to the next time I see something like that. I have seen Starlink satellites. I've seen them in a line, you know, because
Mhm.
sometimes when they come out of when they launch, and I got to see a launch by the way recently. Christina and I went over to Cocoa Beach and we saw the launch of a Starlink
Oh wow, that's
rocket
cool.
just a couple weekends ago. We were over there and checked it out because I had never seen a rocket launch before like that, and I wanted to see it. But I have seen when the portion of it goes up, it opens up and it releases them all, and they're moving across the night sky in a line. You see these, you know, 6, 7, 8, 10 dots of light moving across. They're all in a line. They're all moving together at the same speed. They go to their relative position that they're going to stay in or be in, and then they one then they'll keep going, the other ones will keep going. But I have seen that line before, and that's pretty
Yeah. I
impressive.
think I've
But
seen the
you
video footage of that too.
mhm.
And people
But
are
you know
asking
what
what
it
is
is.
that, and they're saying it's Starlink.
Yeah, it's Starlink. You know what they are, and I've seen Starlink satellites because I'm using Starlink as my internet right now, and I've and they're constantly moving. It's constantly picking up, and I got the satellite dishes on the roof,
Hmm.
and they're constantly picking up the next one as they move by. It's grabbing one and grabbing another one, and keeping the link always connected. So
So how's it
um,
working, the Starlink? We were
it,
thinking
it's
about getting it.
it's really generally it's really good. I noticed last night during the podcast and also last week I had some intermittent failures or not failures, but where it was getting all digital, everybody talking
Hmm.
or whatever. And I was breaking up or freezing a little
Oh
bit.
yeah.
So I don't know. It was a little bit unstable the last couple of weeks, but generally it works very well
I
and it's high
noticed it a
speed.
little bit during where we were talking, like you were kind
Oh,
of going in and out with the screen.
that may be,
It
yeah,
wasn't too
because
bad.
I'm connected to it on my phone here too. So yeah, that might be the case. Yeah, it's generally it's really good, but sometimes I don't know. But that's all I got here at the RV resort. We're at an RV resort in Florida,
Yeah.
so that's why you see the camper behind me, the
That's
windows
okay.
and the shades and stuff. But yeah,
So
so
does anybody else have a question before we head out of here?
I'm into that area too. Yeah,
Boston area.
yeah, yeah. You're gonna have to get her on the show now and talk to her about some of that stuff.
Yeah, she's got stories if she's up to it.
Yeah, I got stories. You got to share them. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Someday we got to get together and we'll talk about portals too, and
yeah,
interdimensional
that'd be a good one.
wormholes and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I can
That's
with Facebook Live, I can bring up to like 3 people at the same time. So
cool.
we'll
All
see.
right. Yeah.
So thank
Sounds
you
good.
so much for your time, Jeff. And
Hey, it's been fun. Thank you for inviting me.
yeah, it's been a great conversation, and I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you very much. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys showing up.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.